The Electoral College has differed from the popular vote yet again. This has happened in 7% of all presidential elections now. Is the Electoral College still relevant? Thank you for joining me on the 21st episode of the LAVA Spurt, the Electoral College Edition.
Welcome to the LAVA Spurt, the weekly offshoot of the lava flow. Channeling the flow of information to the libertarian, anarcho-capitalist, voluntarist, and agorist community. Brought to you by my per-episode donors. Thank you. Here's your host, Roger Paxton.
As of now, it appears that for the fourth time in U.S. history, the person who won the popular vote in the presidential election will not win enough Electoral College votes to take that office. Now, there are pros and cons to the Electoral College. Let's take a look at these and see if we can come to a decision on if we should keep it or not. On the con side, the Electoral College is more complicated than just counting popular votes. Every other election is based only on popular vote. So why should this election be different? Another con is that if you vote for any candidate other than the one that won, then all of that state's electoral votes go to the candidate that you didn't vote for. This all-or-nothing sweep means that millions of votes in this country don't count. This also means that it's very rare for smaller states to have any real impact on the election since they have very few electoral votes to give. I moved from Arkansas that had 6, and I now live in New Hampshire, and they only have 4. Do you think either of these states have had an impact on the results of my lifetime? Of course not. So, literally, my vote has never counted in the presidential election. And finally, like we talked about, a 7% rate of difference in the popular vote and the Electoral College vote is more than an anomaly, and it strikes people as completely unfair. But there are several pros to the Electoral College as well. First, the Electoral College creates a clear winner in cases where the popular vote is really, really close. A perfect example of this is Kennedy versus Nixon in 1960. Without the Electoral College, a nationwide recount would have been necessary to determine who won that election. And there have been 6 times that the difference in the top 2 candidates was less than 1% of the popular vote. You think a recount in Florida in 2000 was bad, what do you think that a nationwide recount would be like? Another pro is that the Electoral College forces candidates to pay more attention to the majority of votes and not just concentrate on those states or cities that have the most voters. And believe it or not, the Electoral College has been shown to give minorities a greater voice. It forces candidates to focus on and compete for states, not just individual votes. So at this point, it looks to be about evenly divided on pros and cons to the Electoral College, at least in my mind. But one item that I saw on list after list as a pro for the Electoral College is, in my opinion, and to the opinion of most libertarians, I would imagine, a great big con. The Electoral College has been a huge contributing factor to the development of the two-party system that we have in this country. If you look around the world, most countries have tons of parties. But thanks to our Electoral College that requires a candidate to win a majority of electoral votes, it would be damn near impossible for there to be a viable third party in this country. There will always be 2 strong parties. Those parties may not always be Republicans and Democrats, but as one of those parties loses power, it will be replaced with another very strong party. With 3 or more strong parties, the possibility of getting a majority of electoral votes becomes damn near impossible, and that's why you're only going to have the 2 major parties always. Now, while most people see this as a pro for the Electoral College, libertarians probably see this as a bad thing. I know I do. There is likely never going to be a small L libertarian majority in this country. So the ability of the libertarian minority to ever have any say in a 2-party system is essentially zero. In a country where there are multiple parties, no single party needs a majority to be in power. And that would give the libertarian minority a much stronger voice and a chance at having a bigger say. Many minority parties in European countries hold seats in their legislatures of those countries, and they're an effective voting bloc that forces legislators of other parties to work with them to make any legislation happen. This would be a huge positive of removing the Electoral College in this country. On this one point alone, I say that we should abolish the Electoral College in support of a popular vote total that does not have to be a majority, 50% plus 1, to win. This would allow smaller parties to have a say and to be able to effectively compete instead of having the deck stacked against us from the get-go like it is today. And that's not even to mention that we're not even voting for the president, but voting for a group of people to vote for the president. Most of these electors are not bound and could vote for anybody that they wanted to. These are called faithless electors, and this is how the Libertarian Party received its first Electoral College vote in 1972, when Virginia elector Roger McBride cast his electoral vote for John Hospers and Tony Nathan instead of Richard Nixon. McBride then went on to be the LP presidential candidate in 1976. This means that Tony Nathan was the very first woman in America to ever receive an electoral vote. Prior to this 2016 election, there have been 157 faithless electors, but it's never changed the outcome of any election. But it could, and this would completely circumvent the will of the people. So I say that we need to get rid of the antiquated electoral system for a much more modern election system. I'll be talking about a more modern election system in the next LAVA Spurt, where we'll break down the various ways used to elect people around the world and deciding on the best of the bunch. Don't miss that one. And don't forget to go to thelavaflow.com/Stitcher and leave me a rating and a review to enter my November contest. You could win a Lava prize pack with an exclusive Lava Flow contest winner's t-shirt, a Lava Flow tote bag, and one of my favorite libertarian books signed by the author. All reviews must be put in by the last day of November, so get over there right now at thelavaflow.com/Stitcher and review this show. Until next time, keep striking the root.
Thank you for listening to The Lava Flow at thelavaflow.com. Don't miss an episode. Subscribe now at thelavaflow.com/subscribe. This has been a Pax Libertas Productions podcast.